Part of being a Flip Genius educator is having the skills to make a hard concept easier to understand and the ability to make an individual feel accomplished no matter how much they're struggling. It's all about giving useful feedback. Proper feedback should enable and inspire people. It should make someone feel good about where they're at and where they're going to go. The following are some Flip Genius communication strategies for helping educators give useful and essential feedback to their students. Now, tip number one, at a Flip Genius school, we embrace the growth mindset, so our students must feel protected and supported in their learning environments because we push them. We push them to grow, and sometimes that growth is uncomfortable. Often we find that our motivated students want to do well and to succeed, and sometimes you'll see them be overly hard on themselves, especially when they make mistakes or didn't do something well. Whatever the reasons for this may be, we as a staff are in perfect position to provide comfort and solid reassurance that our classroom is not a place of judgment, but one of empowerment. Students may need to know that they aren't in trouble when they make mistakes, and they need our guidance in realizing that our mistakes are great opportunities to learn and grow. As a Flip teacher, we always be giving lots of feedback. When giving students feedback, we want our students to know that we're working on this together and that we'll be there till the end. Sometimes it takes for someone to realize that they're not alone to find the renewed interest in taking the next learning challenge. In the words of Helen Keller, alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. It's more common than we think when we believe that we didn't do well, especially when everyone around us seems to be excelling. We oftentimes feel alone as a learner. As an educator, you're always there for your students during the best and worst times, and also for the best reasons. We always want to remain available and connected, and we want our students to draw strength from that. At a Flip Genius school, we have to be intentional about our design, even our conversations. As a staff member, we have to consider the language we use as intentional. When giving students feedback, we have to use language that always speaks from the standpoint of exploring what's possible. It isn't to say that we shouldn't ignore what went wrong. It's quite the opposite. It's a matter of rethinking how we talk to a student about the needs to be improved. This ties to the next point. How do we have those conversations? Well, here's some examples how we construct a genius conversation. We always start with the positive. I like what you did here, but here are a few suggestions. It seems to be an excellent piece of work. However, you may want to try this. Example of turning this around might sound something like this. I like what you did here, and I think you're on the right track here. Why not try adding this or continuing this or try this as well? Once again, I'd like to reiterate that staying positive at the beginning and then a helpful tip at the end is encouraging for students, especially when they're pushed into boundaries that maybe they're uncomfortable with. We want to challenge our students. We want them to grow. So giving them the ability to feel confident in their work is so important if we're going to give them rigorous and challenges along the way. As a Flip Genius teacher, you want to start asking guiding questions. This is tip number 4. When students believe you're expecting a specific correct answer, they can often be slow and hesitant to respond. Let them know that the focus is on them and the feedback is meant to be exploratory. Now, these types of guiding questions are great when you want to encourage problem solving and brainstorming and engage in higher level thinking awareness. By asking these types of questions, you can learn so much more about a student and where they're stuck and what they want to discover moving forward. Guiding questions such as, what do you think? What's another way we can approach this? Invite reflection and engagement and a chance for students to develop crucial independent thinking skills. As this discussion rolls along, you as a teacher can shift your perception into high gear. You can look for nonverbal cues such as nodding, frowning, fidgeting, looking down, or even someplace in the room, all of which are indicators of the effects your questions are having. Within our Flip Genius classrooms, we inherently have tended to a lot of visual learners, and images always play a powerful role in learning. This is especially true with our current digital learners that we have in our seats today, because of their persuasive visual media that students see all the time. A study published on Changing Minds indicates how much students and staff remember when visuals are added to our learning experiences. Additionally, 3M, a company in the United States, indicates that employee visuals can increase comprehension by nearly 400%. If a student is struggling with understanding your feedback, it's the perfect opportunity for you to use diagrams, images, even quick sketches to relate to what you're discussing. The last tip is regularly check for skill acquisition and understanding. Now, students feel much better about what they've done to this point, and they are inspired and ready to dive in again and make a project and assignment even better. With this in mind, it's a great time for a teacher to check that the student fully understands what they've discussed and ask if there's anything that needs clarification. Now, asking these types of questions before the work resumes can be very helpful in hitting the mark with students' feedback. So asking questions such as, does this make sense to you? Do you have any other questions or anything to add? What's on your mind? Are you seeing some new possibilities for how you can move forward? As you continue to inspire your students with positive and empowering feedback, look towards developing your unique approaches to add to your teaching toolbox.